Hello, welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft-related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today's video is sort of a slice of life for a cottage witch. I start my day normally, things are different at times, but I normally start my day by lighting any candles that need to be relit, working on spell work that ongoing spell work and things of that nature. When I can, I also like to pull cards for myself. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. And I just want to explain a little bit about this process. You can make this as, for me, I feel you can make this as, you can do a full spread where, you're pulling out 12, 13 cards. In this case, I'm only pulling out 4 cards. And you can use tarot, you can use oracle cards, whatever you feel intuitively pulled to that day, that morning, whatever you're doing it. For me, I chose tarot cards. And I like to sit for a moment and just sort of look at the images. And for me, in most cases, depending on a spread, but in this case, this is just, I pulled 4 cards. It just felt right to pull that number of cards. And I'm working intuitively. And what I do is I sit for a moment and I look at the images. That's why it's important to be sort of connected to the decks that you use. I use a lot of decks. I use them for my personal use, and then for my clients. I like to have some sort of connection. If I don't, I probably won't use those cards. Occasionally I do. Sometimes I go in and out, I have a relationship with my cards. Sometimes I'm using them, we're hot and heavy. And, we're intermingled quite often. Other times, not so much. We're on a bit of a break. But regardless, I like to catalog, for the most part, what I've received, the messages I received. And I love using that Modern Witch Tarot book, Tarot Journal, I believe it's called. I think it's great for that. I've been using this since I got it. I use it for myself. I use it for some clients, but I sort of have a different space for that. But yeah, and readings for friends and family, basically non-paying folk. I also put it there as well. But yeah, so this is where I go, and when I can, this is not every single morning of my life, but the mornings that I'd like to do this is what it looks like. And this goes into a bit of, sort of what it is to be a witch, a cottage witch in my case. And what is it like to live a magical lifestyle? What does that look like? For me, it's doing things like this. It's taking time out for myself. It's recording what I need to as far as messages so that I can go back and I can look upon them and, sort of reconcile the message with what's going on that day or that week, whatever I'm doing the cards for, whatever the reading is. Either way, it's a moment for me to reflect. So this is really what it's like for me as a cottage witch. I am so grateful I get to live this way. I have a flow throughout my day. Every day is not the same, but there's always a flow, and I do appreciate that. But one thing I know that gets me going is working out. I'm speeding this up because we're a work in progress. But working out, physical movement is everything to me right now. And my water intake is important, but I like to bless, when possible, the water that I'm consuming. I like to take opportunities with anything for that matter, and we'll get into that a little bit more in the video, but I like to take a beat and just be grateful and put my intentions into the water. Speaking of intentions, let's talk about meditation. Meditation is not the same for everyone. I completely understand that. For some, it's sitting perfectly still. For me, there's movement. There is, at least with my hands, but I want it to be on the ground or as close to. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using hand symbols and gestures that are symbolic and important to me as an act of gratitude, and just reconnecting, grounding myself to be in a space of gratitude, of receiving, and just an overall peaceful, neutral state. That is very helpful to me. I like this spot when I can because I feel grounded there. Then I move on to actual work. So, I have been thinking about this. I need to stop shortchanging myself. I do a lot, and I don't do one thing. I don't just have one thing I do all day. This is what I like to call my corporate gig that I'm working on. And this is an important part of my job. I mean, my day, at least some of the work days, right? The weekdays. This is an important part. But along that, I'm running other spaces. I have a Discord channel. I have a YouTube group. Please consider joining. I have to take care of myself. I try to infuse self-care throughout my day, but I'm working on a lot of different things, and all of these things are part of my craft, part of my witchcraft. You'll see here, I'm just doing some prep work for later for tonight's dinner. And why I decided to include this is because I sort of teased about this a little bit before about, being honest about what we consume. Let's just be honest. I consume meat and clearly fish. And I will just say this. You will see I am very grateful. I'm speaking words. Right now, this is kind of halfway frozen still, so I'm just adding just a couple. I find when you add a little bit of salt and always add a little bit of pepper. It helps with that defrosting, and I'm just prepping it a little bit with the oil. I'm going to grill that up later and do some things with it, but be honest. Be grateful. Don't do that thing where you feel guilty because you consume meat, especially as a practitioner. Some people actually feel that way. Own it. Be grateful for it. Give thanks. That's the best that I can say about that. Give thanks. Prep work is a big deal, by the way, throughout my day, if you haven't noticed. Then I actually work with clients throughout the day as well. That's that, and that can vary as well, whether it's first thing in the morning, later in the afternoon, if it's the weekday, the weekend. So there's that as well. I'm working on multiple projects as well. By the way, all of them I've manifested. I'm doing different works. You saw those candles. That's part of it. To just overall, help me get through all these different things that I'm looking to do. And you know what? It's the end, and I think I deserve a drink. So this is my concoction, so to speak. It's sort of like a margarita, but I'm turning with some mezcal, but I'm turning it into a martini. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. This is Mika, Leap Taken. Don't forget to hit like and share and subscribe. And go to leaptaken.com if you're interested in any of my services. Thanks again. Bye-bye.